Welcome to Phillip Island, Victoria in Australia. What a setting we have for this great sporting contest, the Little Penguin Sea to Dune race. Nervous moments always as they gather on the beach, the tension mounting, and away they go. There's the defending champion, wearing his familiar navy blue and white, great waddling style. Another pre-race favourite though, losing touch with the pack. Maybe that's why. A few too many fish in the day's feeding. There's a familiar face, Skip McIntyre, 8 times a champion back in the 90s, a very successful coach now, keeping a keen eye on proceedings. This the leading group, 1 or 2 still able to put on a show for the camera, others just ploughing straight over it. Some resorting to shortcuts. Sad that cheating has crept into this beautiful sport. The judges will have a look at that. But up at the front, the pace is relentless, closing in on those sand dunes that will offer a bed for the night. The fatigue starting to tell. Who's got the finishing kick up on the outside? What a turn of pace from that one, whichever one it is. No answer from the rest, and he takes victory. What a win. There we are, into the Burrow, building an extension with his winnings, and back tomorrow to try and defend his title here on Phillip Island.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Live Penguin TV. My name's Sky. I'm going to be your host for the evening, and I'm joined by the lovely Rachel.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you, Sky. I'm Rachel, and I will be the one looking at your questions and through Facebook and YouTube. If you have any questions at all, please pop them in. I'll try to pass it on to Sky to answer them on Live Penguin TV. If you're wondering how many penguins came home yesterday, we've got 819 penguins came home yesterday night at 8:35 p.m. Thank you, Sky.
Yep. 819 penguins. So a smaller night last night, and the penguins have just started arriving, just turned up. So before we went live, there was one penguin who turned up. I would say about 10 minutes ago, Rachel, do you think? 10 minutes ago, a single penguin. Yes. One single penguin turned up. And it turned up right in front of 2 Pacific gulls. I don't know if the Pacific gulls are still there. Yes, there's the 2 Pacific gulls. So they've been there all this evening. And one penguin turned up by itself. And it's very rocky out there tonight. Lots of that sand has been pulled away. So we just sort of saw it disappear, I think, I would say. I just couldn't really see where this one penguin went. Then just about a minute ago, we got a call over the radio saying that one penguin had made it across the beach. So one penguin has started the cross already. Of course, we don't start counting the penguins until 5 have crossed the beach. So no official start time as yet. Is that correct, Rachel?
Yeah, that's correct.
Nothing yet. So these ones are just turning up. If you look in the center of the screen there, you'll see some white bellies. Those are the first group of penguins really arriving. There's a few more in the back in the water that are thinking about making their way, but it's a treacherous journey across mountains of seaweed and rocks tonight. Maybe, I don't know, maybe that's what was putting them off last night. Maybe they arrived, saw all the rocks and seaweed and went, oh, no, I'm not crossing. I don't think that they actually do that, but I would see all this and go, that is too much of an obstacle course. I'm not interested.
They're hopping right off.
Yep, they're climbing it like it's nothing, which is amazing because they're the littlest species of penguins in the world, only 33 centimeters tall, and they are absolutely getting across these piles of rocks and seaweed like it's absolutely nothing. They look kind of the same as when they were just waddling down the highway. They don't look like they're putting in any extra effort at all. So yes, welcome to Live Penguin TV, everybody. And these penguins, they are walking across Bunurong country. The traditional custodians of this land are the Bunurong of the Kulin Nation. And I'd like to pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging. And let us know the traditional custodians of the land on which you are watching. And if you're not sure, now's a really great time to find out. It's very applicable if you are in Australia and quite a few other countries. But perhaps if you're joining us from the UK, that might be a little bit harder for you to find out or to know much about. But yeah, do let us know. We're coming to you from Bunurong country tonight. And Phillip Island was known as Malau, or is known as Malau, I should say. It's not in the past, it still is known as Malau. And the Bunurong people used to come to Phillip Island, particularly during the spring and the summer, especially to harvest shearwaters. They didn't tend to eat the penguins, as far as we know. So that's lucky for the penguins. But it does go to show that the penguins probably then aren't very tasty, because they do live on the ground. They can't fly away from you. They aren't too hard to catch. If people are deciding not to eat them, there's probably a good reason. They probably don't taste very good. So no penguins on the menu. And they're waddling across now. Now today is World Wildlife Day. So happy World Wildlife Day, everybody. Now the theme for this year's World Wildlife Day is, let me have a look, forests and livelihoods, sustaining people and the planet. So forests and livelihoods, sustaining people and the planet. Now, of course, on a night like tonight here with the penguins, well, it's not such a theme that relates to the penguins so much, because these penguins do not tend to live in forests. Oh, what's that? Oh, we've got a heron. Is that the heron we saw before, Rachel? Sorry, I'm just going to distract myself from the penguins for a moment because there's something right in the center there. Yeah, it looks like some sort of heron. We've still got those Pacific gulls lurking, but they're not causing any trouble. So let's go back to these penguins. Yeah, so for our little penguins, forests are not such an applicable World Wildlife Day theme for them. However, there are some penguins that do like to live in forests. Can you believe it? Now, I'm trying to remember which one it is. Do you remember the penguins that live in forests, Rachel?
Ew.
Penguins, I'm going to quickly look it up. That live in forests. I know that they exist because I've seen photos of them. I think that's the Fiordland penguins. Yes, I think that's about right. So look them up if you get a chance, because it's amazing sort of pictures and footage of these penguins living in amongst trees and in amongst the roots of trees. And it looks very different to how you imagine you see penguins. You know, I think we're used to penguins being in Antarctica on the ice, or being on a rocky shore front also in Antarctica, or here sort of a scrubby bushland. But no, there are penguins who live in forests. And for us here at Phillip Island Nature Parks, we have had a bit to do with forests. We more have woodlands, I would call it, woodlands. And we did some really important work with our woodlands in the middle of last year. Of course, we were closed for quite some time, as many places all around the world have been in the last year. We, of course, were closed as well. But during our closure, we had a lot of staff who didn't have their normal roles. Usually, Rachel and I would be on the boardwalks talking to all of you about penguins and coming into the penguin parade each night, and all of a sudden we weren't able to be doing that anymore. So we got repurposed, we got redeployed, and we were all sent out to do revegetation work and planting of trees, because we've got a natural wooded area in the middle of the island. It's called Oswin Roberts is the reserve, is the one I'm thinking of, but also through our Koala Conservation Reserve as well. And we have koalas that live there, but of course koalas need trees. They need the trees to keep on coming. And then as trees get older, they get hollows in them, which become important habitats for things like possums and birds. And then eventually they die and fall down. But we need this constant cycle. We need to be having constantly new trees to replace the older trees that maybe are losing their leaves, which then become the old trees that have the hollows, which then become the trees that fall down. And it's the circle of life. So of course we've got to keep planting. So we did a lot of work replanting in our woodland areas to make sure that we have koala habitat and possum habitat and habitat for our lovely woodland birds for years and years to come. Now these penguins have just disappeared. Have they snuck by us at some point? No, surely not. Nope, they haven't snuck by us. Well, there's one though. Hello, friend. Stayed home today. Maybe it's a chick waiting for parents. So let's zoom out a little bit and see. Where are they? So they just disappeared behind this wall of seaweed and I haven't seen them come out. I wonder if they've gone, they're heading this way instead of the other way. Let's just zoom out a little bit and see. Will this be the barrier that stops them coming home, Rachel? We will see. But no, so that's, I guess that's how I want to celebrate my Forest and Livelihood World Wildlife Day, is remembering all the trees specifically that were planted in our woodland areas through the time that we were closed last year. But it wasn't just trees, was it, Rachel? It was also grasses, shrubs. We did a lot of revegetation work here at the parade to create beautiful penguin habitat for the future. We had, this one penguin's found a way around and is making its way through. And we had these sort of planting devices, these sort of long sticks with a little kind of hollow bit on the end that we'd jump on to create a perfect little cylinder hole in the ground, and we'd plant our little plant in it. And this would be a lovely habitat for penguins into the future. So all sorts of conservation work has been going on. But for World Wildlife Day, we also, you might have seen, we posted a little video of some of the wildlife that you might like to see on Phillip Island, including, of course, the penguins. Now that group has just absolutely disappeared. There's this one penguin that we can see. Where have the rest of them gone? Like penguin hide and seek. Like, have they really got so... Oh, what's that jumping across? What are you? Oh, why does the camera decide to go fuzzy just at that moment? Something went bounding across the front there. We've got still just that one penguin of the group. So where are the rest? I wonder if they're just... What are they doing? Rachel, what are they doing?
Can't tell.
Have we had an official start time now?
We did.
Yes.
We did 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, wonderful. Any questions so far, Rachel?
We do. Peter.
Besides, where are the penguins? Where did they go? Hang on. There's two walking past. Did I actually miss the group? No, I don't think I did. Are these just two?
There's actually three.
There's a few. Or did that group sneak past? Why is the camera having problems zooming? Are these ones that have come out from their hidey holes? What do you think, Rachel? Did I miss them? I don't think we missed them.
Just which angle did it come from?
No. Let us know in the comments if you know for sure that we did miss them. But I wonder if these are just ones that have come out now that it's penguin arrival time. But I'm very interested to see where they're... Oh, there goes another something hopping across. Or is it just a moth? No. It looks like a bandicoot scurrying on the beach.
Beautiful.
It is! Look at that! Oh, come back. So it looks like it's sort of dinging in amongst the seaweed there. I hope it'll pop out, but I definitely saw its stripes. So that's an eastern barred bandicoot, everybody. So those are extinct in the wild on Australian mainland. And they got taken. A few of them got taken in by Zoos Victoria and bred in captivity so that they wouldn't become completely extinct. And then, oh yep, I can see some movement. Then they got released here on Phillip Island just a few years ago, and they're doing really well. And this is one of the few places in the world where they have a safe haven, because there's no foxes here. Oh, yep, there we go. Just saw it. Oh, hello. Bandicoot. So you might be able to see its striped bottom. That's why it's called an eastern barred bandicoot, because of its bars on its bottom. And it's probably digging for grubs in amongst the seaweed. There might be all sorts of tasty grubs that it might like to eat. Ah, fantastic. Hi, Bandicoot. Or as a regular Waddle watcher, Tim likes to say, Bandicoot, because they are so cute. But let's get our eyes back on the penguins. Let's see, where did these penguins end up? Still no sign of them. Have they snuck past while we've been looking at the Bandicoot? Oh, is that rain? Or is it just a pack of
A moth, maybe.
Moths and insects have just decided to have a mating cloud around our camera. I'm like, oh, I can see some white bellies now coming. Will I be able to focus past them? Yes, I can. Oh, is that rain or is that bugs?
It's rain.
Rain, okay, there we go. It didn't look rainy out there before. Where'd that rain come from?
Suddenly.
It was actually quite a nice sunset tonight. So our penguins are arriving. Let's see what this group does with this wall of seaweed. There's more coming in the back as well. If you look sort of into the back corner, I can see more white bellies. So these penguins are just going right through the middle. I swear we didn't see the other penguins do that.
Just disappear.
But maybe I'm going crazy, everybody. You'll just have to let me know. Here we go. The penguins are well and truly on the way. Coming along, waddling along. Of course, they waddle like that because their knees are fused in a sort of bent position right up in their bellies. And if you try to walk, even if you just lock off your knees straight and try to walk from side to try to walk without bending those knees, without moving those knees, I should say, or just keeping them permanently bent, you can only waddle. That is all you can manage. That is all that can be done. So, this camera is having such trouble. I wonder if the rain is making it. There we go. Yeah, have a go at that. It makes it very hard, but that's why they waddle. That's why these penguins do waddle. That's the only way. They just have to sort of rock from side to side and lean forward, and it propels them forward. All right, here comes this first group, or waddle as we affectionately call them. Hello, welcome home, little ones. What I think is the first waddle, but we might have missed them. So yes, this is Eudiptera minor, the smallest species of penguin in the world. White bellies, blue feathers, the only penguins in the world that have blue feathers. And they're heading home to their burrows. It is the beginning of the molting season. It is the end of the breeding season. So we're not seeing too many little chickies anymore. But we are seeing some big penguins coming home, almost double their weight, their usual weight, I should say. So usual weight is about 1 kilo. We can see them up around the 2 kilo mark sometimes, which is, imagine doubling your size just so that you can fast for 17 days because you need to push all your feathers out. So that is the time that we've got at the moment. This is where we're at the moment. And we'll have a bit of a look around tonight and see if we can find any molters. Any questions, Rachel, while we wait?
We do. Peter from the UK.
Oh, hi, Peter. Welcome. Thanks for watching.
I was wondering, do the penguins all leave together in the morning?
Good question. Do they all leave together? Oh, it's very hard to see with the rain. Okay, we're not going to look out into the ocean anymore. We're going to stay nice and close. Yeah, do they all leave together in the morning? From what I've never been. I've never actually come here in the morning. I've never seen it with my eyes. But what I have been told is that they don't necessarily all leave together in the morning. They will leave about an hour or two before sunrise, in the same way that they leave, that they come in just after sunset. Always in the cover of darkness is when they go. But apparently it's not in the same big groups that we see at night. At night, they really flock together and go out together. Apparently in the morning, for whatever reason, it's dribs and drabs. So it's sort of a penguin here, a penguin there. So it's not this sort of parade that we get of an evening. The other thing is, it's very hard to see because, of course, when we watch them come in, we see their white bellies, and that sort of stands out with our minimal impact lights. We can see the whiteness of their bellies. But when they're going out, of course, it's just their little bottoms, their blue feathery bottoms that we see. And no, it's much harder, not as much to see, I guess. It's like, it's a bit like that backwards camera on above me, but further away and not all of them walking at the same time. So it's, yeah, apparently it's not as interesting. I'd still be interested in having a look, but it's certainly not something that tickets are sold for that we do at the moment. Here we go. We watch these penguins heading up the hill in the rain. Where'd that rain come from? What's that about? How bizarre. Oh, and we've got our first penguins rounding the corner. Let's flick to the highway camera. Oh, hello. Waddle, waddle, yotchi, yotchi. As they go. Let's follow them. So none of these ones are looking too big. Maybe they're all looking a little bit big. Let's quickly get that bottom waddle view. So very shortly they'll be creeping up. Here we go. Waddling along. Oh, it's so cute. Oops, something's scared them a little bit off to the right there. Sweet little things. Heading back to their burrows, ready to molt. Last feeds for chicks, maybe. Not many chicks left now. Really, it's getting into molting season. Time to get rid of those feathers. You can't be looking after chicks, feeding chicks, and doubling your body weight at the same time. That's too much food all in one go. Let's flick back to the main penguin camera and let's see if there's more penguins on the way. See if we can see them through the rain. Oh, it's gnarly out there tonight. Oh yes, okay, so some fair few penguins fighting their way through the rocks tonight. On their way. So we like to give you a conservation action, everybody, that you can do in your life. Each episode of Penguin Live TV, we try to give you something that you can take home, an idea, a message, an action that you can do to save wildlife, to look after the world. And on this World Wildlife Day, since the topic was forests, I thought that we'd do, I'd give you an action that's a bit forest specific, that relates to our World Wildlife Day theme of forests. And that is recycled toilet paper. So Zoos Victoria have done a fair bit of work on this and I'd like to reiterate it. The problem with toilet paper is that if you're not using recycled, then it is paper that has been cut down. We're cutting down trees, we're cutting down forests essentially just to wipe our bottoms, just to flush it away down the toilet, which just seems like such a waste. And toilet paper is the one type of paper that once it is used, you can't then recycle. And look, I think that's perhaps for better than for worse. I don't know if I'd be wanting to use something that had already been toilet paper. But what you can use is you can use other paper that has not been used as toilet paper and recycle that into toilet paper. That makes much more sense than cutting down forests just to flush it down the loo. That is such a waste. We may as well be using other paper that has been recycled to then flush down the toilet. It's much more sensible, and it's a way that we can save our forests and stop deforestation is by always choosing paper that has been recycled. So you can look for that, see that it says, oh dear, we've got, oh no. Got one penguin having a tough time walking. Can you see that, Rachel?
No, I haven't seen it.
So it's just on this highway camera, and it's got quite a limp.
Oh, yeah.
So you might be, I imagine our ranger on Penguins Plus has noticed it.
Oh,
Is it missing a foot?
it might be our Stumpy. We've got a penguin coming up that way. We call him Stumpy.
Stumpy.
Might be.
Hey Stumpy, I reckon this could be. And is it that it's missing a foot? Because this one looks like it's missing a...
Yeah.
And it was just the foot disappeared, or it was amputated?
Amputated because
by
of an infection.
us?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. So this is not a penguin I've met before, but yes, it does look like it is missing a foot. Wow. Okay. And look, it's moving along pretty well. It stopped for the moment, but it was...
I will still radio Paul.
Yeah, just perhaps let them know. Let the Penguins Plus Ranger know that there's a penguin there, just to keep an eye on it and make sure it's okay. But yeah, it is. Certainly, it looks like an old injury. There's certainly no...
Hi Paul, I'm just around in front of the
We're just having a little look.
Can you
But no, it doesn't look like a new injury. There's no other issues. It just looks like it's missing its foot. And yeah, it was like, although it does look a little bit difficult, it is managing to move. And if it's one we see a fair bit, then it's obviously not stopping it too much. I think we've said it before on the live stream, but so our penguins, when they're swimming, use their flippers. Their flippers are their main sort of swimming appendages. So they've got really muscular wings, I guess. Oh, yep. We're getting a thumbs up from Rachel. What was the report?
As good as with Stumpy.
It's Stumpy. Stumpy.
Doing well.
Hey, Stumpy. Doing well. Fantastic. I've never met Stumpy before. Good to see you. So yeah, they don't use their feet when they're swimming. They only use their feet when they're walking, and they're only on land about 20% of the time. So a penguin with an injury like this, yeah, the walking is a little bit harder, as you can see, but Stumpy's looking chunky. Chunky Stumpy. So Stumpy's doing very well. The poor thing's got a bit of a limp, but is much better off in the wild than he is on in any sort of care facility. Certainly, let me just flick this camera around. And Stumpy's doing just fine by the looks of it. Just struggles a little bit to walk, and that's just fine. Don't we all sometimes? Oh, that's cute. I'm pleased. I've never seen Stumpy. Is Stumpy been around for a long time, Rachel? Or
It's been a while. I haven't seen him for a long time, so I'm very happy to see him again today.
Ah, fantastic. So I don't know if you heard that, everybody, but we haven't seen Stumpy for a while, apparently, and it's good to see him or her again today. Oh, you're having a rest just below the camera. Can I focus? Zoom out just a little bit. Sort of a bird's eye view of Stumpy here. Off he or she goes. So just taking a little bit longer to get along, but look, yeah, fair enough. A few extra rests, but otherwise not needing any other help. Wow, look at that. So it just goes to show that some of these penguins are tough, aren't they? They can survive through some quite interesting circumstances. Oh, wow, this has been so fascinating. So for everybody who perhaps hasn't watched this before, I don't even know if I've talked about this very much in the past. So I used to work in wildlife rescue, and we would be coming across animals who had all sorts of issues all the time, and yep, sometimes unfortunately you have to amputate, but if you can get them back out into the wild, if they can live with that with an amputation, or if they can live with whatever injury they've got, and they can have somewhat of a regular life, then you absolutely want to get them back out into the wild. If they can still eat, if they can still get themselves to burrows, if they can still mate, all these things, you get them back out. Absolutely. So it's very nice. I really like to see stories where it's gone right. All right, we've only got a few minutes left, everybody. So any questions?
Yeah, we've got a question here. If a juvenile, a penguin they've just left a few months ago, will they come back to molt this season?
Yep. Will juvenile penguins come back to molt this season? No, not this season. So they've just grown new feathers. They've just done that. They don't need new feathers for a good another year or so. What we tend to see is the juveniles come back within about a year, and they'll hang around, they'll have a little bit of a look, and within about a year to 14 months onwards is when they will molt for the first time. So we certainly won't be seeing them molting only a few months after they have after they've only just grown their new feathers, because the feathers, the point of the feathers, I guess, is to keep these penguins waterproof. And if they've got a fresh new set of feathers, then they're going to be lovely and waterproof. They certainly don't need a new set. So yeah, about a year or a little bit longer onwards is when we will see these juveniles come back. So a lot of these juveniles will be out and about. We call it a penguin gap year. Well, that's how we like to think about it sometimes. On their penguin gap year, out enjoying the ocean, swimming nice and far away for a good year, going on an adventure. And then after 2 or 3 years is when they begin to think about mating. But that's a little while off. They've got their youth and their innocence for a while yet. Okay. So remember, everybody, if you'd like to help the research and conservation work that we here at Phillip Island Nature Parks do, if you want to help protect these penguins, then you can donate to the Penguin Foundation. The link's in the description, wherever that may be for you. You can adopt a penguin, you can adopt a bandicoot like we saw ferreting around in the seaweed. You can adopt, you could adopt a penguin and call it Stumpy in honor of, little Stumpy. I'm so pleased about that. It was so nice. It's lovely to see a lovely story like that of an animal that without perhaps human intervention might not have made it, but did, and is now enjoying a full life, which is fantastic. So you can adopt a penguin. Otherwise you can support Phillip Island Nature Parks. That's us, self-funded or visitor-funded. We are not for profit, and we are a conservation organisation. If you'd like to support us, one of the best ways you can do that is by coming to visit if you can, because we are funded by your visit. People who come to the Penguin Parade, that's a donation to the work that we do, essentially. Got some feeding going on. So if you'd like to donate some money and have a good time, come visit these penguins, come visit our koalas at the Koala Conservation Reserve, go to Nobby's Antarctic Journey, go to Churchill Island Heritage Farm, have a great day and evening out and do your bit for wildlife. That's how you can support us. We're going to be doing these live streams for another week or so. Thank you for celebrating World Wildlife Day with us here on the stream. And we will see you all next time. Anything else I need to add, Rachel?
No, all good. Thank
you.
No,
hit it all. All right. So I'm going to huck away. Goodbye, everybody.